Okay, so now to the last while loop. The last while loop deals with booleans. So booleans, to remind you, is a true or false value. So I'm going to declare a variable up here, and we'll call it boolean. And then just to give it some arbitrary variable name, window, and we'll set it to be true. So remember, boolean can only be, window can only be true or false here. It's only two values. It's either true or if it's false. So to create a while loop that loops with boolean, we say while window equals true. While it equals true, do whatever between these two brackets. So if we just put out system.out.println, and then we do back to my math.random, multiply it by 10, add 1. We'll cast this as an int. I think it looks a little prettier. So here's going to print up random numbers starting at 1, going all the way up to the number 10. And this should never stop. I never switch window back to false. So window is always true. I declared it here as true. And it never switches. And it's printing up. Remember, the red button here that says terminate ends it, stops. Okay, so it just made thousands upon thousands of random numbers. So what we'll do is we'll make this program right here run until it gets to the number 7. So what we put here is if, before we do that, I need to make a variable up here. I need to say int number equals, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out of here and put it here, and what I'm going to do is just print up the variable, and that does the same thing. It just, I make the variable here, now I print it there. So what it does is it allows me to do this if statement. If number equals 7, I want the program to stop. It's totally random. So what I do here is I say if it equals 7, set window to false. And then it will stop. Now, everything else, window will equal true. And then I'll put down here so that we know it ends at system.out.println. Have a nice day. So to reiterate, what's going on here is I make a Boolean variable, and I call this window, and it's true. It says, okay, while window is true, do everything between these brackets. As soon as it switches from true to false, because that's the only two values you could have, false, right here, the bracket stops. The while loop stops. It jumps out of these brackets. And now remember, it's making these random numbers, and as soon as it finds the number 7, it stops. So if I run this on the side, something happened. Let's see, line number 11. Oh, forgot my semicolon here. Okay. Let's run this now. Okay, so this one went 3, 4, 4, 10, 4, 1, 6, 7. Once it hit 7, it switched window to false. Have a nice day. Run it again. This took 10 numbers to get to 7. This one took 10 numbers again to get to 7. This one only took 6 numbers. I'm trying to get it to do it on the first one. It's totally random. That's the second one. 2. Wow, that took a while to get to 7. 2. Still can't get to the first one. There we go. There's the first one. I'll stop. Now, one of the things hopefully some of you are thinking about is right here. This line, 17 all the way down to 20. These lines here, these are useless. The only time window is set true, as long as number equals 7, we don't need this line because window is already set to true. The only time it will get switched is when it becomes the number 7 and window switches to false. So it's going to stay true. We don't need that else. And you'll see that I won't type that else very much. And then we can start running it again. And you should see it works exactly the same. Hit 7 on the second time run. It runs exactly the same. Wow, that was a lot to get to a 7. Okay, well that's how you use Booleans, and typically this is actually the way most programmers do while loops, is with the Boolean values, true and false. So that's the last video on the while loop.